Today we'll be reacting to EU versus USA because the USA is a mess right now. Let's go.
Punching a wall in the US versus in EU. Europeans, when they see...
Bro, immediately, the first one. Let's go back. This is so true. The amount of videos I've seen of fucking US people breaking their own walls. And our walls being made of pure concrete.
Punching a wall in the US versus in EU. Europeans, when they see Americans, no free healthcare.
Yeah, they live rent-free in our
These
head.
are called chips, and these are called... No, they're not. We are not a...
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I prefer the fries instead. I'm with the Americans on this one.
I feel bad for you, said Europe. I don't even think about you at all, said America.
What?
Americans, when it's 90
Think about
degrees
us.
outside, versus Europeans when it's 90 degrees. Who even uses Celsius? Like, how
Oh, the next one fully fits into it. Yeah, 90 degrees Celsius is very hot. I would be cooking.
extra. Places which use Celsius versus Fahrenheit. You
Just
guys are
change
extra.
to the metric
Medieval
system.
Europe versus medieval Europe in movie/documentaries. Europe. Americans
That's
naming
just
cities.
Britain.
Europe. New city name. The most expensive room per night in Europe versus America. Traveling to a different country in a movie starts.
Hospitals very
USA,
expensive there.
Mexico, India, Canada, South America, Scandinavia/Eastern
If it
Europe.
works, it
Grass
works.
in
The color
USA
filters are
versus
nice.
Grass in Europe. 25-year-old
Wait,
/slash
what?
Eastern Europe. Grass in Europe.
Is this true? Does Europe have more smokers than the USA? Like, we all know that the USA's grass looks like this. But I didn't know this about Europe.
USA
Interesting.
versus grass in Europe. 25-year-old European versus 25-year-old American.
Not the hatchback. Not the hatchback. I'm part of this. No.
I still can't believe Americans don't call car parks car park. What? Is that where you bring your car on weekends so it can play with other cars? No, it's
Yeah,
where
it's
you
awesome.
park your car. Almost like an area of land. A lot, if you will, for parking cars. A parking lot. A car park.
Let's just agree. Both will work. there doesn't have to always be a better one.
100 acres of pizza are served in the US every day. Who the hell measures pizza in acres? USA! How Europeans see Americans. I've got to
Freedom
embrace
units.
the flag. I've got to sniff the flag. I've got to lick the flag. I've got to wash the flag. I've got to date the flag. And I've got to be the flag.
Honestly, it's kind of admirable, but they take it too far sometimes. Like, I think the best thing would be a balance. Like, you need
People who
balance.
leave their phones set to military times are war criminals. How do you look at 405 and go, wow, I can understand that. Bootlickers, what's next? You gonna join the army? Recruit me?
I mean, we just get taught like there's 24 hours in a day. So doesn't it make sense to use 24? A unit of 24? Huh? America, explain.
Americans be like, okay, I can't count past 12 actually. If I have a medical emergency, don't you dare call an ambulance. You better Uber my butt to the hospital because we are not about to pay $5,000
Yeah,
for a
5K
ride
is
in
a
the
piss take,
wee-oo
bro.
wagon.
That's
Everyone
too
outside
much.
the USA, laughing nervously. What?
For us, it's
Hey
free.
Canadians, have fun at school tomorrow. Hey Americans, have fun paying your healthcare. Stop guys, we're friends, remember? Children, behave, else mother shall have to give the pair of you a bollocking. You couldn't be
Bollocking.
13 states, let alone 50. Lol, Australia doesn't even exist. Aussies are just spicier British people. What are flavorless British people? Just normal British people? What are
True.
Americans? Cheesy stuffed British people. The British keyboards have a special pound key on the
Ooh, I read somewhere that like cheese in America doesn't have to be made out of real cheese. Yeah, you guys got some fixing to do.
keyboards. How do you hashtag? Hashtag is over by the enter key. Don't you
All right, that's a pound. That's a pound sign. That's UK. That's not Europe, all right?
worry your little butt. What do American
use
keyboards
euros.
look like then? Oh, as an American, I can confirm
Hawks
this.
everywhere.
European kids getting ready
That's
for
kinda
another
cool,
school
though.
year. American kids getting ready for another school year.
Ooh.
Rural town in the I hate this word, bruh. Rural town in the US. A policeman is approaching you in
Rural.
Europe versus them
Learn it,
approaching
bro.
you in America. To be honest, Americans are so funny. They're like, OMG, there's a concert near my house. It's like a 3 hours drive. And you're
Where I live, 3 hours gets you out of the country. From any spot in the country.
Europeans are like, what? A 3-hour drive? Are you kidding me? I'm not going to France for that. Australians crying in the
That's
distance.
it.
Invent a new sport. Spread it globally. Be bad at it. Invent a new sport. No one else plays it.
All right. So they're not bad at football. They just choke. They're just like global chokers.
Declare world championship. An American
True.
pickup in Europe. Why is it so fat? The American who
Oh yeah,
thinks
they
that
don't fit in the
America
parking
sucks
spots.
is moving to Europe. The European who thinks that Europe sucks is moving to America. Europe.
Honestly,
Americans
stay
are
in
so
Europe.
uncivilized and violent. Also Europe whenever someone scores a goal in soccer. It's
That's
football.
different, all right?
To be honest, it's kind of funny how so many Americans are convinced that every house over like 10 years old has a ghost. This house is 100 years old. People have died in here. Like, okay.
That's
but in
normal,
Europe,
no?
when they're like, someone has died here, they mean like 4 generations have lived peacefully and passed of old age in this home. In America, someone died here is like, some dude locked his mom in the basement and she starved to death. People in
Is that the difference? You guys locking up someone in basements? Nah, over here it's calm. Like it's normal.
Northern Europe,
It's much more
12
accepted.
degree weather. When Americans complain about heat, Europe, I'm in my 30s and don't have a car. We don't care, get the bus. USA, I'm
Yeah.
in my 30s and don't have a car. If you speak to us again, we will call the police. US sports fan.
I don't know
Mix
why
us
cars
together
are
in
so
the crowd.
important over
It's
there.
all good. European fans. Me.
Like you have like a mall, you have a McDonald's, you have a Burger King, you have a Wendy's, all within a 2-kilometer radius, which is like walking distance.
An American
bro.
trying to chum up with
Oh,
Europeans.
sorry, not 2 kilometer. Like how much is it? Like 1.3 miles.
The Europeans. 20-year-old American boys. Mom, can I drink a beer? No, you are way too young. 15-year-old European boys. Dad, I'm getting a beer with the boys. Can I join? Americans. When Americans
we-
make fun of the
we started
United
earlier.
States. Americans. When Europeans make fun of America. Europeans to Americans. Europeans to Americans when they need military support. How Europeans think of Americans who have a carry license. American chocolate. You think you're better than me. European chocolate. I am better.
Swiss chocolate. Belgian chocolate. Undefeated.
Better than you. Americans be like,
EU,
I'm looking at
EU.
myself in the mirror. Americans be like,
I'm gonna go watch a war movie.
Americans be like,
I'm gonna go eat an orange.
Americans
An
see a
orange?
tree rodent and go,
Look, a squirrel.
Americans be like,
Can you give me a glass of water?
Europeans.
Yeah,
I
give
can't
me
believe
that water.
Americans don't use the metric system.
So America's a glass of water. And the UK has a bowl of water.
Americans with 3 grams and a 9mm in their pocket. Europeans with cryptids. What whimsical creatures. Let's invite them in for tea. Thank you. We'd love some tea. Let us celebrate.
that's nice.
Americans with cryptids. This is the last forest you're haunting, you
I don't know what cryptids means, by the way. I'm just assuming it's like what's it called? Like mythical creatures. And I'm assuming this is a chupacabra.
son of a... I'm gonna smash your corpse when I'm done.
chupa
Europeans,
chupacabra.
when you ask them what they know about America, when you realize
Texas.
that the US
True.
is technically
Texas and guns.
older than the UK. Europeans,
Is it?
when they see an American minding their own business. We are intellectually superior in every way. Europeans...
The superiority feeling is there, but it's also warranted. No hate. Just facts, Americans.
gun laws. Americans. When Europeans find out that they created the American. No.
Oh, no.
Americans
What did we
microwaving
do?
their tea. Britons drinking instant coffee. Europeans. Let's make
Ugh.
memes about Americans. That'll show them. Americans. I'm sorry. Who are you again? Brits making
No,
fun of
you
Americans
have to know
for
me.
using tea. Also Brits when they use stones for weight. When you are
Alright, British people are not a representation of EU. British people are the USA of the EU, just so you know.
British and your American friend says, let's play football, but then they bring an ellipse-shaped ball. I am a bit confused. The beginning of the American Revolution. You owe me like $1. You'll have to kill me for it. We're experiencing heavy
Is that
snow.
true?
Massive snowstorm. Duh, more vodka. Looks like spring, eh? When I see
What
mass-
is up in Finland? And why is it worse than Russia? Damn.
Massive snowstorm, duh, more vodka. Looks like spring, eh? When I see British citizens mocking the president, I just remember that in 100 years they went from ruling 1/4 of the world to living on an island the size of Michigan. So this is an American translator for
Cacos
what
in American.
Americans say and what it means. I'm afraid of Americans. This is super real.
Wait, what do they say? When Americans say challenging, driving me completely nuts. Great means fine, fine means bad. Mm, just the I don't want to bother people.
Let's get coffee
lies.
sometime means goodbye, I like you. Or let's stay in touch means goodbye, I don't like you that much. Today I learned Americans call a knob of butter a stick of butter. Wait, we call it a knob too. Who the hell calls it? We call it a knob. What? Those Americans are terrible.
I'm
with
not,
all of
I'm
their
not
shootings
interfering with that one.
happen. Meanwhile in Europe, Americans, when you tell them European isn't a country, confused unga boonga. American
boonga.
drivers trying to navigate the narrow streets of an old European city. How European
I hate that. That's what I hate about Europe. Like you will have like ways or like roads which are meant for like one car will fit, right? But it's like a two-way lane somehow.
think Americans get to work. Literally true. POV.
Isn't that true?
2 seconds after arriving in the USA. Americans. Why do Europeans think they're better than us? Europeans. USA. France,
Yep.
help me. France. Can't. I'm broke.
get Kinder
It's
Eggs.
against the British. France. What do Europe and America's
Immediate.
views on gun safety? Europe says guns should be highly controlled and used only by responsible adults. America says if their age is on the clock, then they can use a Glock. How Americans see USA
Proper gun
versus
training is
USA
important.
in reality. Olive oil Europe versus butter Europe. Europe every couple decades. Father, I crave violence. Aliens visiting the
Do we do
United
that?
States versus aliens visiting Eastern Europe. Driving directions in Europe. 1922. Drives on the left, drives on the right. Mixed. Mixed.
What you mean mixed? Also, why were there so many lefties? That's why Portugal drives on the right. But how do you mix it though?
Average USA
That's
hospital
crazy.
visit. This is horrible. This man has no insurance. I'm on it, doctor. They pushed him off.
SpongeBob
They
was a
killed him.
documentary.
Australian arrested in Australia. Australian
The
arrested
upside
in
down.
Europe. European arrested in Australia. Toilet in Europe versus toilet in India versus Amber Heard's toilet. Speed cameras anywhere
Oh,
else.
that's a
Speed
classic
cameras
one
in
now.
Eastern Europe. How Americans see Europe. It's too far away.
Water?
We can't. Americans simply
Literally.
cannot conceive of how gloomy Europe is. Wow. So UK is horrible. Let's go.
I'm
At
in
19
Northern
years old
Europe,
in
to be
America.
fair.
Can I buy a bottle of vodka? USA. No, that's illegal and irresponsible. Can I go $50,000 in debt for education? We encourage it. American
We can even double
Impossible
it.
Challenge. Americans tried to name this country challenge. Impossible. Americans
Is that
literally
Andorra?
have no banter. I don't know what country this is coming from, but we've probably beaten you in a war at some point. I'm American. Civil War. America. I'll kick anyone's butt. I'll kick your butt. I'll kick your dog's butt too. I'll even kick my own butt. Remember that time it got so hot in some parts of Australia? The bottoms of people's thongs were literally melting to the asphalt. And people still ask me why I hate
What?
summer. For Americans reading this post, a thong is a flip-flop. A flip-flop.
I was confused as well. I just
I
just know that American
racism
thong-
in Europe versus racism in America. Europeans memeing on Americans. Europeans being memed on by Americans. Anti-curfew
We don't
riots
like
in the
that, alright?
Netherlands. America, Europe, Netherlands. Dude, you're embarrassing me in front of the Americans. Europe is better
They're
because
sorry.
we have social benefits. That's only possible because the US rebuilt Europe. So the
they?
evolution of cars for USA, Germany, and Russia. 100 years in the future.
Lada is elite. This is the ultimate car wagon.
USA Michigan versus Norway. How the rest of the world sees the USA. Los Angeles.
Texas.
What?
Yes.
Disney World. Yeehaw. New York. Being bilingual in America versus being bilingual in Europe. I thought it would
That's
be the
my general
opposite.
understanding
No, it
of the
has to be,
USA.
right? It's the opposite. Europe's so good they made a sequel. History books. History books if
USA is just EU part 2.
Europe had natural resources. Salesman slaps USA. You can fit so many idiots in this bad boy. Hunting in Mexico versus hunting in Australia versus hunting in USA. Everything's better with explosives.
what?
I've always scoffed at those. OMG,
Is that possible?
Europe is
Will
tiny
that work?
first. But we just took the wrong exit driving back to our cabin, and we literally ended up in Norway and decided to just stay for dinner. So yeah, this just happened again. There isn't even a sign that says welcome to Norway. You're just there all of a sudden. I could miss
Really? Every time I've been out of the country with a car, there is a sign that says, hello, this country.
an exit and still stay in my state for another 8 hours. Americans. Cricket
because
is a
that's
dumb
state.
game. USA wins one match. Americans. Oh, mercy me. I keep forgetting I'm in the colonies. My favorite post. Please tell me that people in Britain actually call the USA the colonies. We
That
call
would
you
be
the
funny, though.
colonies. We don't call you the colonies. Europeans. I drove 40 minutes to the Netherlands for some groceries and then popped into Germany to see some of my relatives before driving back home. Americans.
Yeah, that's possible.
I was in Florida. I drove for 9 hours. Now I'm still in Florida.
You can within, I believe within an hour, you can go from Germany to Luxembourg to Belgium to the Netherlands back to Germany. All within an hour, I think. No, definitely within an hour.
I have a deep respect for Scotland because I was at an Ireland versus Scotland football match and their chant
That's
was,
4 countries
"We
in 1
hate
hour."
England more than you." One time at a Germany versus
Alright, I don't like British people, but their chants in football are they're good. They're good. I'll have to admit.
Scotland game, some German fans started the "Stand up if you hate England" chant, and the whole stadium stood up. What did we do? What didn't we do? Does this mean that England is the US of Europe? Where do you think the US got it from?
I mean,
Go for a
Scotland
walk.
hates
The scenery will
the,
cheer you up.
England
People
as
in
well.
Eastern Europe, USA. We're going to make a League of Nations, Europe, and you're going to join it, right? USA. You're going to join it, right? But ma.
Join us!
Can someone translate this? I don't know British. I'll do my best. Ahem. Hey yo ma. It's mum.
Hey, yo,
not
ma.
mum. It's chips, not crisps. It's fries, not chips. It's color, not color. It's soccer, not football. Wrong. Why is it cancelled in the UK but cancelled in America? Oh, I actually know the answer to this one. American newspaper ads charged by the letter, so a lot of people would eliminate unnecessary letters like the second L in cancelled or the U in color. Some of these spelling changes were used so
capitalism.
often that they stuck, and now Americans just spell some words differently. In summary, Americans spell things weird because of capitalism. Another
I
weird
said it.
Australia fact. We are the only country that ever cancelled a boat race due to the lake being wet. Please
What?
elaborate. The Henley on Todd is a screw you boat race made to poke fun at the English's Henley on Thames. The Todd River is dry
Alright.
most of the time, and as a result, it hosts the only dry river regatta. Behold, the chaos. UK. Everything the light touches is our kingdom. USA. Colonies. But what about that shadowy place? You must never go there. Americans. Talking smack to the US. Other Americans. Yeah, we suck. Europeans. Talk smack about the US. Americans. America. Europeans. Universal
Don't talk
healthcare.
about the freedom country
Americans.
like that.
Europeans asking Americans where Wasplakshazvestovich is. Europeans when Americans
What?
ask where Nebraska is. British cheddar versus American cheddar. Europeans arriving in NYC.
that's the
Wondering
plastic
why
and the
homeless
cheese.
Dude pooping in a 7-Eleven cup wasn't included in their pamphlet.
What? This was not included?
To be honest, I'm just curious about the weird shit that happens in New York streets.
Nice addition, though.
Europeans, when someone mentions American healthcare, you'd rather spend taxes on guns than healthcare? Laughs in public healthcare. How Europe sees
Yes,
USA.
yes.
This is how USA sees Europe. Yeah, I'm glad we are just England.
Yeah. There is a 2-part version before we just saw the USA version. This is Georgia, right? Should be.
It's nice. I think Americans have spent long enough making fun of British accent. We need to stop making fun of our own accent. Americans be eating crayon berries. Americans
What's a
be
crayon
paying
berry?
$20 for a crate of
$20?
water bodies. Americans offered 2 choices. They have no real preference between the 2 dozen matter. I don't think American filmmakers
I have no idea what
realize
that
how
meant.
huge London is. Because you sure have the London Eye and Houses of Parliament. But when you say London has fallen, what? So the Nando's in Catford is in flames. The Tesco in Peckham has descended into chaos. We have states bigger than
Not
your
Peckham.
entire country. Europe, but without the guys, you're literally killing me. Thanks whoever made this meme. Japan, the USA, fighting in Europe, fighting
That
in
does be
Africa.
cringe.
The State Department nailed my girl's passport. Want to know just how in Europe, fighting in Africa? The State Department.
What have they done to her? They massacred. Also, are you allowed to smile? I'm not allowed to smile on any of my legal documents. That's unfair.
Department nailed my girl's passport. Want to know just how big Texas really is? This is actually
Uh,
mind-blowing. I don't get it. That's Europe inside Texas. Texas isn't actually that.
It's Africa and Australia, no?
Huge, is it? France, United Kingdom relations. England, screw you. France, screw
you.
History of the Middle East. History of Europe. History of USA. History of USA is like a DLC of Europe history. Why divide people
True.
by irrational things when you could divide them by whether their word for cotton candy is valid or not? Examples. American English. Cotton candy. Good. British English. No, we don't call it fairy floss. We just call it candy floss. And that is valid.
They call it candy floss? I prefer cotton candy, not
Spanish
gonna
and
lie.
German.
Cotton candy chopper, if you know, you know.
Sugar cotton. Good. French. Daddy's beard. Not valid. I'm sorry,
Daddy's
the French
what?
call it what? Americans. Explaining why they don't want
Alright, we
free
have to delete
healthcare
France.
because they get to skip the waiting times. Europeans with identical insurance at a fraction of the cost because it has to compete with the free one.
The waiting times have never been a problem for me. Most often I can just go in the same day or either the next day at most. I've never had to wait weeks or something for anything.
Napoleon wants money for war with England. Thomas Jefferson wants to purchase Louisiana. British bank offers to lend Thomas the money. Thomas Jefferson borrows the money and buys Louisiana. Declares war on Britain with the Louisiana money. We can do both metric and imperial measurements. It's not
Napoleon,
difficult
you
at all.
rascal.
Europeans making fun of Americans for using imperial measurement. Americans running the 100-meter dash. Buying liters of soda, grams of drugs, and kilos of other...
That's even weirder though. Like, why are you mixing them? That's why I judge the British people. Oh no. No, I'm good. Give me 1 second. My thingy didn't work anymore. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
drugs. British versus American. Favorite, and spelled very incorrectly by the American. Prince Harry officially
we
renounces
got the
British
explanation for that
residency.
one.
Lists US as his new country on document. A literal British monarch changing his alliance to the United States. We've never been more back after...
I mean, the British... the British monarch is not a strong one. I think they're just there for tourism.
Afternoon. Hey, how are you? Fine, how about you? I'm good. You're from Maine? I'm rotated in Europe right now, so the 1900 miles away threw me off. Where's that? Maine or Europe? Europe. Where the hell is that? It's
Red flags, red flags,
across
red
the
flags.
ocean. The USA shouldn't police the world. Totally agree. That includes removing troops in Europe, letting Europe defend itself. But I won't be able to afford all of my social policies then, because increased military spending. Wait.
I mean, it's gonna depend per country. The military could be just less.
Why are these memes like on America's side? I'm British! No!
I see that's the last. That's the last thing. Make sure to check out. Wait, I'm a bit in the way. But make sure to check out Pascal. Link will be in the description. Hey you! If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out the original video below. I also stream live on Twitch in case you want to hang out some more. So yeah, bye bye!